Half a day! I'm so glad to be here with you today to share a little bit about the educational technology policies for Guam Department of Education. My name is Cheryl Nussbaum Beach, and I'm very thankful for your time and attention today. What I'd like to do is talk a little bit about the EdTech policies covering the extensive reach of Guam Department of Education devices, E-rate funded infrastructure, network access, broadband, all of it being funded through a variety of means. You have local funding, federal funding, Title V A and B funding through the consolidated grants, U.S. Department of Ed rural grants, and more. There is some added accountability for those of you that are in the instructional setting. You want to make sure that whatever the equipment was purchased for, that it's actually being used in that particular setting. There'll be a disclosure of the way that the equipment is using, there'll be documentation that'll need to take place, and there'll even be some reporting to the project lead for which the equipment was purchased. So let's get started. Let's talk a little bit about some of the EdTech policies. Let's first establish why it is helpful for you to understand technology's importance and why school districts around the world have policies and procedures for students, teachers, and staff when it comes to using technology at the workplace. The internet has changed how we do things in the business world, and it has also changed the way we do things in education. With the advent of social media, learning literally occurs anytime, anywhere, inside and outside the schoolhouse walls. The revolution in technology has transformed the way we use technology to communicate, work, and create knowledge together. This digital era puts us in a position to collectively reimagine what it means to learn together. Technology and the virtual universe are transforming the way we do most of our tasks and in our daily lives, and also here at Guam Department of Education. Historically, the early 90s brought computers to homes over the internet with the ability to text. Texting became a less expensive way to communicate to people around the world instead of using telephone calls. It was immediate and people could communicate through text. Texts were first sent by SMS, short message service. Today, trillions of text messages are sent daily. The introduction of the iPhone in June of 2007 really took the world by storm. It changed everything. We've gone from a paper world to one of electronic digital communications. Paper memos moved to email, and email provided quick communication between two people or a group of people. From email, the world began to chat in online discussion groups and in online video conferencing, which brought people together from around the world, and it meant that Guam was no longer seen as a remote area to some, but it was one that was connected and collaborating with others from around the world. Texting is still hugely popular, but people looking to expand chats to group communication personally or professionally have used various apps, such as WhatsApp or Messenger. And for more immediate communication at the Guam Department of Education, social media and group texting is used by our Board of Education on Facebook. Also, our superintendent communicates on Facebook and Twitter to take advantage of the benefits of social media and letting others know about the great things going on in the Guam Department of Education. In the past, it may have been a weekly newspaper article that allowed stakeholders to read and first learn about GOD's happenings. Now, most of the information shared within the district in the different departments is done electronically. Each division at GDOE has a WhatsApp chat with their division heads and employees. Oftentimes, it's used to inform staff of information needed to be communicated immediately or to request immediate assistance from an employee. Teachers must learn to model the connectedness and enable students to develop personal learning networks that are monitored and fit within the GDOE guidelines. All Guam Department of Education employees have to understand what it means to be a digital citizen to fully exploit the transformative potential of the technologies that GDOE offers, and to do it within a global network in safe and ethical ways. The use of technology devices and access to the GDOE network and internet service is not only a privilege, it comes with some responsibility. This is why the Guam Board of Education and others have worked together to develop policies and guidelines to protect us all. There is good and bad in the world, and it's the same online. Not everyone acts responsibly, as we've all seen in the media and on television. There is misuse, predators, hackers, and impersonators. When using technology at the workplace, there are policies and procedures employees need to be familiar with to understand the guidelines of our policies and what they dictate in order for effective use of the technology not to become a misuse. When any of us use the internet or post online, we leave what's referred to as a digital footprint. A digital footprint is a passive digital footprint. In other words, it's a data trail that you unintentionally leave online. According to Wikipedia, a digital footprint or a digital shadow refers to one's unique set of traceable digital activities, your actions, your contributions, your communications manifested on the internet or on other digital devices. Once information is sent out to cyberspace, it's always out there. Anyone can see your information even years later. They can download pictures, they can edit them, they can use your personal information. That's why it's really important for us to think and act responsibly when using technology and collaborating together in online spaces. Even more significant is when we use technology with children and with students. We need to keep in mind how vulnerable people can be with online communication. As adults and employees, we need to be responsible digital citizens for our own safety and protection, as well as serving as a role model for our children and students. Digital citizenship is a relatively new area of inquiry that has emerged because of our desire to help students manage their digital lifestyles safely and responsibly without losing their sense of excitement and opportunity. Why should we have digital citizenship? Well, as we said, the internet is everywhere and it's fast becoming the door to everything we want to know. It provides access to so many different kinds of experiences that we have found ourselves with an urgent need to understand how to best navigate for ourselves and how to help our students safely and ethically explore this virtual new world. In education circles, this interest has been given the name digital citizenship. It's like being a citizen of your country or of the place you live, except this is online. Digital citizenship supporting the idea that we now have dual citizenships both off and online. Our goal as educators is to help students, as well as ourselves, develop the skills and perspectives necessary to be able to interact as good citizens in healthy and creative ways. Together, by following the guidelines and policies set forth by the Guam Department of Education, you will not only gain an understanding of what is meant by digital citizenship, but you will also find ways to incorporate good digital citizenship skills into your workspace and in the teaching and learning experiences you create for students. Use of the Guam Department of Education computers and access to the internet extends responsibility to the user, you. It is a privilege to have computers provided, to use the Guam Department of Education network, and to access the internet from work. So in doing so, we represent the organization. We're seen as role models for the community and want to ensure that communication between colleagues, students, parents, or the community are professional and appropriate. While the technology has been available for almost 2 decades, it's fairly new to the Guam Department of Education, and it's come relatively fast. Here are some interesting facts that will give you a better idea of how all this fits together within our district and organization. Teachers did not receive a laptop from the district to use for grades and lesson plans until ARRA funding helped make that possible in 2010. Since 2010, and the help of grant funding and E-rate funding available to our schools, the Guam Department of Education now has online learning for teachers and students. Students have access to a device at school. Students have their own email address. Teachers are now using Google Classroom, where students use Gmail's suite of apps for completing their homework and emailing it back to teachers. Students create YouTube videos for class projects and they post them for the public to see. All teachers are required to post grades and attendance, and parents now have access to a parent portal to view their child's attendance and grades. It's no longer necessary to have to wait for a report card to come out for parents to find out the students are struggling. Many students bring a cell phone or another device to school. There's quite a bit of information available on the use of computers and technology in the schools. One such source is an annual Speak Up survey distributed annually to all the schools in the country. Guam Department of Education participates, and the responses give us a good barometer of exactly what the state of technology use is within the Guam Department of Education. Now, according to the 2019 Speak Up survey, 83% of students in grades 9 through 12 are checking their own grades online at least weekly. 57% of the students, grades 6 through 12, email teachers with questions and concerns. 71% of our students search the internet for their schoolwork, and 67% of the students use a computer at home to do homework. 64% of those students report having internet access in their home. 71% of 6th through 12th grade students use computers in school all day. So I hope these facts provide you with a sufficient background to understand the importance of technology in our daily work and our mission as an organization. Each and every adult at the Department of Education in some form or another helps our students to be responsible and ready to learn. What follows is an overview of specific policies, guidelines, and use guides that will be relevant to your position within the Guam Department of Education. We hope you enjoy learning more about this important topic.